Welcome to Sidecontrol Mixed Martial Arts Podcast. Let us take you on a journey with this week's news, rumblings, and fights.
Hello and welcome again to MMA Sidecontrol, where me and my friend discuss all the goings on in the world of MMA. How have you been, mate?
Yeah, I've been chilling. It's been a very busy week in the MMA world, hasn't it?
Well, it has. And before we get into it, can we just take a moment to reflect on a normal start time for a fight card?
I'm actually happy you brought that up because I wasn't even going to mention it. I just must have took it for granted.
Can we just have a moment just to relish in the fact that we've got a 7 p.m. start to a fight card?
I was thinking about this actually yesterday. Has there ever been like a humongous UFC main event that's been at a decent time for a British audience or European audience?
Not that I can think of. I can't even think of a decent one that's been at a good time for us to watch.
Yeah, so anyone out there from America or Australia or wherever you may be, welcome to our world.
Yeah, anyone who has to get up at 3 a.m. to watch a fight card or stay up all night, welcome to our world.
So shall we dive right in on what we thought of UFC 242?
Well, what did you think of the event overall? What do you think of the night? Think it delivered?
Hey, yeah, everything from a promotional standpoint, like I think, yeah, it delivered. It just felt a bit soulless. I don't know if it's because it's a new stadium or whatnot, but it didn't seem like, you know, the way you can really get behind the crowd. Maybe it's the culture where that's just not their nature. I don't know. But
well, this might lead in. I don't know whether you really watched it, but this might lead into us watching at a normal time. We actually watched the event in a pub or a bar, if there's any Americans listening, and we couldn't really hear it anyway, so we weren't biased by the commentary, and I didn't really get a sense of the crowd anyway.
Yeah, it's a good point. That is a good point. I've rewatched it since, is why I say that, but at the time, yeah, you're right.
Well, I was thinking, should we just go straight into Curtis Blaydes and his performance?
Yeah. Was it anything other than what you expected?
His performance? No, we mentioned this last week, didn't we? And this was, by and large, this was exactly what you said. We said it was going to be a bit of a stepping stone for Curtis Blaydes. It was the only heavyweight on the card, wasn't it? And it was a strange one. I think there was a distinct difference in class. I know it's hard to find in the heavyweight division. There's quite a shallow pool of really good fighters, but the class difference was massive, I think, in this fight.
He just couldn't do nothing with his wrestling, could he? As in defensive wrestling wise, he just couldn't. He offered nothing either off his back or as in regards to defending the actual takedown.
Well, he could do nothing in the overall fight. Do you want the stats for the fight?
Go for it.
Curtis Blaydes, the total strikes Abdurakhimov landed was 3 and he threw 8. And Curtis Blaydes threw 74 and landed 46. 25 significant strikes.
He only threw 8 shots.
Yep.
That is a whooping.
It's a whooping, isn't it? And Curtis Blaydes landed 100% of his takedowns.
Wow. I don't think that even gives us any indication of where Curtis Blaydes is since he lost to Ngannou, because maybe the difference in ability from the two was just too much to even gauge where Curtis Blaydes is at.
Well, do you know what stands out for me for Curtis Blaydes is he's a heavyweight, and he's only in his mid to late 20s, isn't he? Is he 26, 27?
Yeah.
Not entirely sure, but he's really young for the heavyweight division. He's got, and to be ranked where he is now, he's number 4 now, number 4 heavyweight. He's got quite a long time to work on this. Especially with the fighting style he's got, with such a heavy wrestling style, he's probably got a long career ahead of him, barring any injuries, where he's got a lot of room to work. Such a young age for the heavyweight. I think I see a champion in the future for him.
Yeah, he's 28. Yeah, I can't. There's nothing I can disagree with there, because if you look at his age range and the ones coming up, they're not exactly on the forefront of everyone's mind, are they? I can't think of any on the spot, so it really must be slim pickings, a heavyweight at the minute.
It is, isn't it? It's quite a shallow pool, isn't it? It's just getting human beings that size, I think, must be quite difficult.
It's a tricky one with Curtis Blades, I think, because on the actual level of ability in the heavyweight division, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility to even see him challenge Stipe. Even though it's probably, well, it is too soon, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility because the talent pool is so shallow. But I can't see him, no matter how many wins he gets, getting that title shot, having 2 losses the way he lost against Ngannou.
That's it, isn't it? He's got to get past Ngannou to get anywhere near the title. And one, is he ever going to get the 3rd title shot? And 3rd shot at Ngannou, because what's the point? And 2, if he does, is he going to get past him? It's 2 big questions that he needs to answer to get that belt. Unless, I can definitely see a scenario where Ngannou's fighting for the belt and Ngannou gets injured and Curtis Blades steps in. It's quite an interesting stylistic matchup with Stipe, I think, for Curtis Blades. So I think if Curtis Blades did get Stipe, I think he has got a chance of winning. I think you're right, it's probably a bit early. But I think his real test isn't necessarily Stipe, which is an odd thing to say. I think it's Ngannou.
If I was anything to do with Ngannou's management, there is no way that I would agree to a 3rd fight with someone that I have knocked out twice.
Yeah, what's the point? That's what I mean. He's not getting that fight, and then if he ever does get to his belt, it's got to be. You can only step over him through an injury. It's got to be.
That's an interesting one, right? Yeah, I could see that. I could see that where he's a last-minute replacement for a big fight, as in a title fight.
I think that's a shot. Maybe he should be sending Ngannou some pizzas and tiramisu's. You know, maybe a Jordan away cut. Find out where he's staying.
Go down the Khabib route.
Do you remember the story when Evander Holyfield was fighting? I can't remember who it was he was fighting, but I was watching an interview with him and he said he was sending the guy pizzas all week. It leads up to the fight to his room.
Yeah, I've heard that story, yeah.
That'd be 100% my tactic. Even though I wasn't fighting Ngannou, if I was Curtis Blades, I'd be sending his hotel room pizzas in the lead up to the fight.
That is genius, especially on a weight cut. Yeah, so after that fight, then the next one in order was Makhachev against David Ramos.
I think I've got a name. I showed my ignorance last week a bit with David Ramos, and I've got a really because he's quite well known in the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world, and he's quite well established, and I wasn't really familiar with him, which is sacrilege, I think, because a lot of people were quite familiar with him. But it still played out the way we said it would, didn't it?
There's nothing really that surprised me about that. Well, to be honest, yeah, David Ramos' stand-up was a lot better than what I'd give credit for. So it was a competitive fight. That's the best thing that you can say. It was a competitive fight. I scored it 2-1 for Makhachev.
I think I agree with you, yeah. I think 2-1 for Makhachev. I think when we were watching it, it was, after the fight, we were both, yeah, Makhachev took that fight. That's the right decision. But I think you're right. It was quite competitive. It was really competitive, and Ramos looked dangerous at points when he was on the ground. He did look like he might pull something off, but only because we'd had a little bit of a look into him before it, and we knew his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu credentials. Was I watching him thinking, oh, he could get something here, but Makhachev was too good, and he smothered him, and he was his defence on the ground was brilliant. Makhachev, when he was in a dominant position, there was just nothing Ramos could pull off. He didn't give him an opportunity at all. Yeah,
again, similar to Curtis Blades for different reasons. I don't think it really tells us exactly where Makhachev is. He's been called by everyone in AKA Khabib's heir apparent. He's that good. Everyone's saying if you watch him and Khabib go at it, it's very, very, very close. But
well, this is it now, isn't it? This is his chance to break into the top 10. This is his now opportunity to go into the top 10 and start fighting some real fighters and show us where he is, see whether he's world class, and I think we'll see very, very soon where he's at.
I agree, but I think we're going to see a situation where there's not going to be a lineup of many opponents for him.
Yeah, I agree, because it's one of those situations, isn't it, where you put yourself in a position with like Magomed Sharapov, where you're in a position where you're not higher ranked enough for someone to need to fight you, but you're a really dangerous fighter, so it's everything to lose and nothing to gain for anyone who takes him from the top 10.
Exactly. So I foresee that happening. It's going to happen a lot with Eastern European fighters in the UFC because the level coming from there, and I'll just say there's not really name recognition, but the level is going to be, well, as it is now, but it's going to even increase very high.
Yeah, it seems to be there's a lot of talent coming up there now, and I think you're right. I think there's no name recognition. We don't see these get built up from the undercard or from the Ultimate Fighters and things. We just see this is a really dangerous fighter ranked at number 17. And like number 13 is not going to want to fight him and lose his spot for no reward.
Yeah. So that brings us on to the co-main, which me and you had a different result.
A different opinion on, didn't we, as well? We had a different opinion on. Because before we watched this, we last week when we talked about it, you didn't think this was worthy of a co-main event on such a pay-per-view card. What do you think now?
Oh, I stand by that 100%. I don't think it matters how good the fight was, because it was an excellent fight. It's just, if it's a co-main event for me, and it's not a title fight, it's got to at least have title implications.
Yeah, do you know what? I didn't even think of it like that, and I was okay with it last week, and even after watching it, I'm okay with it. But I have to agree with what you just said, too. I think if it's a co-main event, there should be some sort of title implication, especially for a numbered pay-per-view card. You're right. Yeah, I agree with you.
So you thought it went one way, I thought it went another way, but I think we can both agree that it was a very close fight.
It wasn't a robbery either way, was it? I mean, when I was watching it, I was thinking, yeah, I'd give that to Felder, because just with the way they scored the card, I think Felder was busier, Felder was pushing the pace, Felder was the more dominant position, and even then when Barbosa took him down and Barbosa held him down, Barbosa then got caught in it bad from dominant position. I don't think Barbosa did anything with it. Barbosa was really dangerous when Felder was pushing with the switch kicks, as he is. And they both did a lot of damage to each other. I just feel like the fight was controlled by Felder, and that's why I think pulled it for him. But like I said, that wouldn't have been an egregious decision either way. Both of them could have won that fight, and I was going, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. I wasn't exactly up in arms over the decision. And maybe we gave a little smear of a facial remark, but that's it. There's nothing really you can take away from that. It turns out the Barbosa's camp is appealing that loss.
Yeah, well, I can understand that, because why wouldn't you? I mean, you've got nothing to lose appealing a loss, have you? But I don't think
you ever heard of a loss overturned?
No, and I can't really think of some off the top of my head, but I can remember some that have been appeals where I've thought that if anything should ever be overturned, that should, and they never have. They've never overturned a fight that I can think of.
Yeah. So, what a waste of money that's going to be. But it was a good fight. I think Felder said he wants to crack at the top 5 now. If you look at the top 5 of the lightweight division,
he deserves it, though, I think.
Does he?
I think so. I think give him a go. Yeah, let him in. Why not? He's just beat number 7. Why not? Put him in the top 5. He's just beat number 7. So I know the rankings are weird and they don't work like this, but that should put him either at 7 or above 7. Yeah, next one should be a top 5, I think.
Well, if you look at the top 5 in no particular order, this is just off the top of my head, but this is the 5, I just don't know what in order. Khabib, Ferguson, Poirier, McGregor, Gaethje, Cowboy, so we're up to 6.
No, there is 6, isn't he? Because the champ's not ranked, is he? He's just the champ.
Right, so okay, so there's the top 5.
Even Cowboy, but Cowboy's fighting, so...
Exactly, there's no one there for him. And who's there are not going to want to agree to fight Paul Felder. No offence to Paul Felder, but he's going to have to fight 8th, 7th, or a really young up-and-comer, because there's no way he's getting a crack at any of them 5.
Yeah, well, Gaethje and Cerrone are signed, so they're fighting next weekend, so they're out for his next fight, I assume, unless, I can't imagine them two will be ready to fight. Mind you, his fight was really hard. I can't imagine any of them will be ready to fight any day soon, because I think Cerrone and I know we'll talk about later, and Gaethje will be a bit of a barn burner, so I think maybe the loser of Cerrone Gaethje he gets.
Yeah, maybe. I could see that headline in a fight night somewhere.
So, should we move on to the big one and the main event?
Yeah, it was a sad one for me.
It was emotional, wasn't it? It was
He's
a sad one
nice
for
guy, isn't he? Though he's just such a nice guy that it's hard to not want to see someone like that succeed.
Do you know, before we talk about that, actually, I also want to reflect, as well as having a main event start, a card start at 7:00, and us being able to go to a bar to watch it. We also had random people talking to us about MMA, which is unheard of as far as I can remember. And we've been fans of this sport for a long time now, and that's just never happened to me before.
Yeah, it's definitely not common occurrence, is it, when someone says, you know, what are you into, and you say MMA, and then they say, always that, you know, name whatever fighter you want, Ronda Rousey or whoever, but there's never...
Undertaker.
Yeah, of course, the Repo Man.
Big boss man.
What a guy.
Yeah, but do you know the lead up to this fight, because I was talking about this last week, and I said, whenever we have such a dominant fighter, I always get to the point where we start to build up, and I'm like, he can't be beat. No one's ever beaten him. It's not happening. And then the closer we get to the fight, the more build up I watch, the more promos I watch. I always get to the point where I'm like, maybe this is the one. It even happened to me with Mayweather McGregor, and that's ridiculous. And I still fell for that shit.
What,
this
you
one I
thought
never win.
McGregor was going to win?
No. Oh yeah, I thought McGregor had a chance for some reason. I got sold. But this one, I never ever got to the point where I thought Justin had a chance. And I normally do. I normally sell it to myself and I get really excited about it. But I always felt like it was going to go the way it went.
You know, there was moments, you know, moments of success that Dustin had, but I thought it just really smelt of an upset to me. I thought stylistically it was really, really good. I think it's one of them. It's reminiscent to me of the GSP era in the late 2008 to whenever. Every single GSP fight, I was like, this is the one that's gonna do it. Carlos Condit is gonna knock him out. He hasn't fought anyone like that, and I think because it must be I don't gravitate towards serial winners. I don't know if that's something inside me, but I don't really gravitate towards, as a fight fan, if a fighter is like a serial winner, I don't really gravitate towards them. So I think maybe in my head, I don't give them credit enough for their skills that they possess.
We all love an underdog though, don't we? Everyone loves an underdog.
Especially being British.
Yeah, and we grew up with Rocky as well. The Rocky films were big when me and you were little growing up, and that's everyone loves a down and out story, don't we? We want that. We want the one no one thinks can win to come in and do it. 'Cause it says something to us all. I think it's something that's appealing to everyone. That the person who no one believes has got a chance to do it, to step in and do it, but just in life that's not always what happens. And I think this weekend it was pretty evident that Dustin Poirier was out of his depth in the cage there, and that's not taking anything away from him, because he's a brilliant fighter. He deserved the chance.
I wouldn't say out of his depth.
Would you not?
No, I don't. There's no way you can argue anything apart from the fact Khabib was dominating the fight. But if you look back at Khabib's fights, and everyone seems to praise Al Iaquinta massively since this, and I can't remember one incident where Al Iaquinta even remotely had Khabib even worried, let alone hurt. But I think even Khabib said himself that Poirier's guillotine, that was tight. Like really tight.
You could see it was, because he had to adjust, and it's not always, he had to adjust and really take notice of what was going on, because you seen him turn his hips and he went sides on. He had to fight it. So I think
he rolled on his back, didn't he, Khabib? He actually rolled on his back.
Well, when we were watching it, I was saying, "Oh, he's got it. It's in." And then we were sitting there for a bit, and I was thinking he might actually take this, and then when it looked like he was so tired, and we've all heard about how hot it was there as well, and with the outdoor arena and everything, maybe that had an effect on his cardio, but Khabib just drains people, doesn't he?
Well, for Khabib, who's an elite level wrestler and sambo artist, for him to even roll to his back, that's sacrilege in that discipline. You should never roll to your back. So for him to do it, I think it shows that it was. I've never seen Khabib go to his back.
No, I agree with you. And but even in saying that, I think Khabib's more well-rounded than that now, isn't he? It's not just a sambo fighter. There's no way he's not developed a good jiu-jitsu game. He's got a good submission game. He knows what he's doing.
Oh, he's world class. Yeah, there's no.
Yeah, in everything. Yeah. Well, what's next for him then? What's next for both of them? I know Justin's been hinting at retirement, and this is becoming a bit of a silly thing these days with everyone retiring and then changing the man 20 minutes later.
Well, I text you, didn't I, when he said that, and I think I said in the text, like, why? Like, really? It's off one loss. I don't mean that in like a bitchy way. I mean that in a way of, you shouldn't really say these things in the heat of the moment because he's still quite youngish in the fight game.
And he's hurting, isn't he? But you're right. He's got a lot to give. Yet he's still in his prime, and he's just fought for the title. He's right at the top.
But what's interesting is the more I thought about it. If you remember the rankings that I told you before, the top 5 in the lightweight division, well, he's fought all of them apart from Cowboy. So say Cowboy loses to Gaethje and he slips down to 7th, 8th. What fight is really there in the lightweight division for Poirier? A Conor rematch, maybe. Can't see it happening myself, but that's the only one really.
Yeah. But even that's not necessarily the point, is that it's just, if like the way I said it to you when you texted me, I said, I think you're right, he's probably still got a lot to give to the sport, he's still got a lot of work to do if he wants to do it, and he's still right up there at the top of one of the best. But if that's what he wants to do, and he's at the position in his life where he wants to retire, who are we to say don't retire? Be happy, mate, go on, go for it, you retire and spend time with your family and do whatever you want to do. You've given enough. If you feel like you've given enough, then you've given enough.
Yeah, I totally get that, and I don't even think about it from a person standpoint. There's anything I can argue. I'm speaking purely from a fan standpoint, and I want to see him fight again. So it's from pure selfish reasons, got nothing to do with him himself. It's just I really want to see him fight again because he's so entertaining. I
do. I'd watch him fight again. I don't know about him running for the belt again, though. I mean, but like I've said this before, we don't always need. I don't agree with Dana White. I don't think everyone in the UFC needs to have a path to the belt. I think you can just be an exciting fighter, like Cerrone. This weekend's a perfect example for that with Cerrone and Gaethje. You don't need to have a clear path to the belt. Cerrone's never fighting for that belt. I don't think so personally. I think his draw is now we don't watch Cerrone thinking he might get the belt soon. We watch Cerrone because he's an exciting fighter and I love to watch him. I would love to watch him do his thing.
Yeah, but I think we can all agree that next to Khabib has got to be Tony Ferguson.
Has to be. Absolutely has to be Ferguson. Everyone said this, and you said it to me last week, and I said I'd watch GSP first. I still would watch GSP first, but I understand I'm the minority, and it's only fair that it's Ferguson. Although Ferguson's dropped out as well, but it is only fair that it's Ferguson.
Yeah, it's got to be. I think I said I'd rather watch Conor last week, but no. It's just got to be. And stylistically, it's the most intriguing matchup. I think that my takeaway from the Poirier fight is I see Tony struggling Khabib less than what I did originally. But stylistically, it'd be an amazing fight where anything could literally happen.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, I can't. There's nothing I disagree with. I agree completely. I think it has to be. It's only fair. There's only one fair fight now, and that's Tony.
But it was a good card, wasn't it? I wouldn't have been best pleased if I had paid 20 hard-earned British pounds on it, but it was good.
Well, before we move on, before we move away from this card, can I just have a little mention at what a good stoppage the Curtis Blades fight was? Do you remember the stoppage in the Curtis Blades fight?
Yeah, it was a really good stop. It was Mark Goddard, wasn't it?
Mark Goddard spotting that stoppage before, because Abdurakhimov was out. That was him out. He wasn't out cold. He was just done fighting, and he started taking some damage. And Goddard was right in there, and it was the right decision. And I think it was a really intelligent decision. And we never really give the referees any praise. We just seem to call them when they get it wrong. But I think that was the right decision at the right time, and fair play to him.
Yeah, he read the body language perfect there, didn't he?
Did, yeah. It was a good stoppage at a good time, and I think he gets a lot of stick for early stoppages, for early stands up and stuff like that. But that was bang on the money. And if I was going to do the sport, you'd want someone like him in the cage, because that's what they're there for, isn't it? Really, to look after you and make sure everyone follows the rules.
I think my last mention on UFC 242 is it's a rare thing for me personally to watch the UFC, a main event in the UFC, and for it to have a huge fight feel.
Yeah, agreed, because we said this on the night, didn't we? It really felt like a big card. It felt like it was a moment in the sport, didn't it?
It had that, like, massive moment feel to it.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
Maybe we won't think like that in retrospect, you know, if Khabib goes on to defend his belt 2 or 3 more times, because with Khabib now, whether you like it or you don't, he's just going to get bigger, and the events are going to have a bigger feel to them.
Yeah. Something about, before we move on from the card, something that I thought you would have brought up, because you were shocked by it on the night. Felder calling a doctor in himself during his fight. You was flabbergasted by that.
I still am flabbergasted by that. I've never ever seen that done, and I don't understand how that was allowed to happen. I think what he was trying to say was I was headbutted, but I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
I think Felder actually said, "Can you get the referee to check it?" I think he indicated he wanted the doctor to come in and have a look at it. I think it was getting in his eyes and stuff, so he asked if the doctor could have a look at his cut. But I've never seen a fighter stop a fight himself and ask for the doctor to have a look at his cut.
Imagine you got like a left hook from Ngannou at the floor, and as he ran in to finish it off, he screamed, said to the ref, "Stop, I want a doctor to check me jaw first."
Stop, lie us down, I don't want to be standing up anymore. Bring me a pillow.
I wonder if you're ever going to see someone in a pro MMA fight, say they're getting mounted and getting hammered, actually scream themselves to the ref, "Stop the fight."
Yeah, listen, if I ever got into the sport, it'd be the quickest stop the fight you've ever heard in your life.
Yeah, the bell wouldn't have gone.
If it had turned up.
And it would be hard to hear what exactly you were saying through all the teas.
I can't, it's too much sobbing.
I'm praying.
No, it was a good card. Overall, though, I think it was a good card, and you're right, it was a big card feel, and I enjoyed it.
So now we've covered UFC 242. Is there anything that's happening in the news at the minute, or MMA news at the minute, that's caught your attention?
Well, yeah, the BMF belt, getting that BMF belt made, you know, because I know you want to talk about this topic sort of a roundabout anyway, because you want to bring up Diaz, don't you? But the UFC have actually announced that they may make this belt. Don't get me wrong, I want it, make the belt, but what are you going to do with it? Who gets to keep it? I mean, how do we change hands?
Obviously you're referring to the recently signed fight of Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. So the UFC are obviously marketing it, who's the baddest motherfucker. But for them to do a belt for this, I think personally, it's the ultimate cringe.
I know what you're saying, right? And we're really, really moving into the territory of WWE. We're getting to the wrestling. It is like an entertainment rather than it is a sport. But I don't care. I want to see someone walk around with a stupid belt that means nothing, but we can all look at it and go, he's got the BMF belt. And then I want someone to say, what's the BMF belt? What's that stand for?
It just think the ludicrousness of it.
It is ridiculous, but I'm alright with it.
Well, what's next? Ken Shamrock against Mark Coleman in the oldest dude belt.
Weirdest fight belt.
Frank Trigg versus Matt Serra in the baldest head belt.
Do you know what though? I think if they make this belt, we can probably sign off ever getting in the Olympics with MMA, can't you?
Imagine now Conor could say to the UFC, I'll come back I want a belt. If I'm fighting, if you want me to fight on a co-main against Justin Gaethje, well, I want to fight him for who's got the biggest dick belt.
Most Irish belt.
Most toned arse belt. It doesn't matter what it is, it's ridiculous. If it's not sanctioned by a governing body and it's on a proper belt, I'm not interested. You might as well play for the headband.
But that's what I think they are doing. I think they are just playing for the headband. Do you know what I mean? I don't think it's serious. I think it is probably a joke. It's like Wayne Mayweather fought McGregor and Mayweather brought the money belt. No one cares. It's not a sanctioned belt. No one's bothered. Take it home with you, put it on your wall. Who cares? But it's just funny. I'm okay with it. It's a bit of a gimmick. And we can use it in the build-up. And I'll enjoy it. Because I think this build-up, I know it's going to be an amazing fight, but I think this build-up's going to need a bit of help.
Well, yeah, I can see what you're saying there, because they're not exactly going to go at each other. I've said from the beginning, and I'll say again, if you'd expect them, because of both of their reputations, very heated pre-fight build-up, a very aggressive news conference or whatever they do pre-fight, you're not going to get it with these two. You're just not.
No, you get it. When that happens with Diaz and McGregor, and when it sort of happens with Cerrone and Diaz, it's quite natural. It's
organic.
Well, it wasn't a gimmick for Diaz. It's never a gimmick for Diaz, and it's not really a gimmick for Masvidal. It's never a gimmick for Masvidal. Whereas they'll build this up. Whereas just to sell more fights, Diaz won't do that. Masvidal won't do that. This is going to be respectful, I think, until then the cage doors close. So it's going to need the UFC to promote this.
I think it promotes itself, to be honest, though. I think if you just show Diaz's baddest motherfucker moments and Masvidal's moments, I think it just make itself.
How do you think Leon Edwards is going to feel knowing that they're going to use what happened to him to promote this fight? I have no doubt that they're going to use what happened to him to promote this fight. If they go that route, though, to be fair, they could use all sorts to promote this fight, because Diaz has been in a brawl outside with Khabib. They've had altercations as well outside the cage.
You could literally, it's a producer's wet dream who's going to do the build-up for this, as in the countdown show, or the Embedded. I'd imagine they're going to do a countdown show for this one.
Yeah, but and you could...
Just think of what you can do. You can show Masvidal's street fights. You can show Nate Diaz fighting in a school gym at 16 in a bare-knuckle MMA fight.
Yeah, you can show Diaz fighting Mayhem Miller with his brother in a cage after an event. You could show them brawling with Khabib and his crew at an event. You could show Masvidal giving Edwards a 3-piece and a soda. You're right, this probably is going to be... Do you know what? I've sold it. I'm already sold it. This build-up's going to be brilliant.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be thinking this is like... I was thinking then it must be the greatest thing ever for either of them two to get that belt, to be recognised by your peers as the toughest out of everyone. And while we're on the subject of that, if you were to make that belt as a fan for the fighter, past or present, who do you think deserves that belt?
Baddest motherfucker belt?
Yeah.
Do you know what? For sticking to the guns, and probably Nick Diaz, since we're going down that route and he's on my mind, I'd say Nick Diaz, because he's the only person I know who after a fight has gone to hospital and then had a fight in a hospital.
Over Joe Riggs. Yeah, I can fully get that one. For me, it's Michael Bisping.
Yeah, Bisping for the just his route to the belt. Yeah, I take that one as well. I wouldn't be disappointed if he got
With one eye.
This non-existent belt that's been made up.
But with one eye as well.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and how dominant Rockhold was when he took him out. Yeah.
So now we've clarified that one. What I've seen this week, which has caught my attention, is Cyborg has signed with Bellator.
Yes.
What do you think that means for, first of all, Cyborg's career, and second of all, the future of the featherweight division in the UFC?
I think that's the end of the featherweight division. I think it, and I don't say that with any sort of bad inflection. I think it should be the end of the featherweight division. I think, fine, get rid of it. I'm not bothered. There's not a lot going on there. There was, even when Cyborg was there was one person there and then anyone else who could get fat enough to do it. Just get rid of it. Get rid of the featherweight division for the females. I know Amanda Nunes got the belt. Just say, you keep that. You can just have that forever. You can be that champ forever.
And just to put it out there, we don't think 145 women in the UFC are fat.
No, but for the most part, they don't. It's mostly 135ers fighting not at their natural weight to fight at 145. It was only really Cyborg and the odd girl who come in who didn't have the skill to be there fighting at 145. I just don't think it wasn't a very deep division, and it's okay. Just some of them don't need to happen. I'm fine with it. Just get rid of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think you need to get rid of it, considering that the champ of the division is also the champ of the 135 division. It also sorts. There's going to be fighters though. You've got like Megan Anderson and fighters who are 145 and could never make 135. They're just going to have to go elsewhere, aren't they? There's only like 2 or 3 of them.
Well, listen, I'm not a scab. I'm not trying to get these girls out of a job, but yeah, just go to Bellator, because Bellator's got it's building a division there anyway. Go to Bellator.
So, what do you think of Cyborg? What's your prediction of her career path now?
Well, I said to you, didn't I, that because coming off my ignorance again, I said to you, I think Cyborg just goes and gets the belt and holds it for a while. But you strongly disagree with that opinion, don't you? You think there's some real competition there for Cyborg?
Well, in one woman, yeah, I think Julia Budd is a really tough fight for Cyborg. She's just so tough, and she hasn't lost in a long time, like 8 years. I think Ronda Rousey was their last loss. But stylistically, that's another great one. Put it this way, it's an exciting fight that Scott Coker knows how to promote the hell out of Cyborg. Yeah. And it looks like Cyborg, maybe the UFC was at fault, maybe Cyborg was at fault. You know, normally the truth's in the middle somewhere, but they never had a very good working relationship, did they?
No, they didn't. Talking about the UFC being at fault, what do you think about what's going on with Colby Covington at the minute? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Not so much, but with Colby Covington he's come out in public and said he was offered because rightfully so, he should get the fight for the welterweight belt here. This is his shot now. And he's come out and said that they've offered him one offer. It wasn't a good enough offer. He's knocked the offer back. So they've gone, fine, we're going to someone else. And that's exactly how the negotiations have gone. That's it. They've not spoken to him again. No one's talked to him, and that's it. So I think he's been outdone by there. But I think the problem with Covington being outdone by and saying, listen, this is what's happened to me, I've been outdone by. With your stick, Covington, and with the way you've promoted yourself and the stuff you've done, no one gives a shit. You've gone round calling everyone snowflakes and said, stop crying about everything. Well, Covington, stop fucking crying about it.
It's a weird one with him, isn't it? I've heard conflicting stories. I've heard Covington signed to fight Usman. Usman didn't sign. I've heard lots of things, but what I've took away from this week with Covington is he on a mission to burn every bridge to absolutely anyone who's ever been close to him?
Well, yeah, when you've got Dustin Poirier saying the things he said about Covington, then you know you're not in a good position, because Dustin Poirier doesn't necessarily badmouth anyone really, and he's He seems like a really nice guy, and if he's calling you the snake, well, what did he call him? I think he swore.
Sell out.
You fucking sellout, yeah. So if he's calling you a fucking sellout and he wants nothing to do with you, then you fucked up. I mean, you fucked up big time. And now with what he's doing with Masvidal, what's he playing at? Does he want any friends?
His coaches, he's also offended his coach as well. It's just weird. I've never seen someone go after their own gym who is still a part of that gym the way he is.
Well, just drop the stick now. Just drop it. In fact, you don't need to drop it. Just stop going in heavy on people who help you. Do you know what I mean? Because they train together. I mean, Masvidal was on Helwani today, wasn't he? And Masvidal said that because Covington was saying made remarks about Masvidal, and then Helwani told him about it. And Masvidal's just said, plain and simply said, you know when I'm at the gym, you come and see me and we'll sort it out. And he's also said that Covington has gone to Dana White and said that Masvidal is going to attack him, which is a bizarre thing to say. And if that's true, from a grown man who's a professional fighter, I don't understand that. It's bizarre. I don't understand. I don't get his stick, and I don't get his personality when it's not the act. I don't understand him at all.
I don't think he understands him. I think that's part of what he thinks is making him mark. Well, you can't argue with him really. He is a lot more marketable than before when he was just a name in the crowd, wasn't he? It could be because he'd done well in the UFC, but no one really
cared.
Yeah, so what he's doing, it is working, but it's working for the wrong reasons. And it's just the fact he openly admits it's an act, it's not real. He openly admits that. What is this?
Yeah, but when you're saying stuff about people like you work with every day, that you have to see the next day in work. And I know it's not a job the same as we have a job. I know it's not your normal 9 to 5, but you've still got to go and see these people. And these people, you've got to help each other get ready for fights. You've got to get through all these difficult things together. You'd think it creates a bond, but he just doesn't care. He's not bothered at all.
Yeah. Well, I haven't really got anything else in relation to news at the minute because of, Saturday's performance. Them two we've just talked about, well, 3 that we've just talked about, and the fights coming up this week. I don't think my brain can take any more shit. Let's play our weekly segment of Would You Rather.
Okay then. Well, I'll let you take it away, mate.
Are you sure you don't want to go first?
No, I'll let you take the lead on this one, mate.
Okay. Right. So my Would You Rather. No, you've got to put yourself at the scene here. You are so what I'm gonna say, you've got to envisage you're there, okay?
I'm really feeling it. I'm getting in the moment. Just give me a second, really let me meditate on it.
Get in the zone.
Right on there, go on, give it to me.
So, you're at your own wedding. It's your wedding. And Khabib Nurmagomedov has turned up. He's high on life. And he starts grappling with you. But in this scenario, no one will offer you help for 3 minutes.
Are we toy fighting, or is he going for blood? Does he want to hurt me? Yeah.
He's not dropping bombs on you. But what he is doing, he's passing your guard, and he's like chicken winging you. He's getting you in full Nelsons, and you're getting wedgied. And you're getting wedgied hard. So for 3 minutes, your new wife, her family, your family and friends are going to witness you take a very, very embarrassing whooping.
Yeah.
Or your other option is...
Okay, go on.
Picture this. You're on your own. You're in an airport. You've passed through security.
Yeah.
So there's no escape route. You're not running out of nowhere. You've passed through security.
Yeah.
At said terminal, Brock Lesnar happens to be there with his family. All you have to do before I continue, the nearest security guard is 500 feet away.
Why did you always say this? Is though I'd be crying for help immediately.
And all you have to do is sneak up behind Brock Lesnar,
Yeah.
pull his pants down, and as hard as you can, slap his ass. What he does next is up to him. I'm not saying what he's going to do. It's just hypothetical what he could do. And you've got to take into account the nearest security guard is 500 feet away. So which one are you doing?
I'm going for Brock. I'm going for Brock, I think.
Wow. Fair play to you. I wouldn't have touched that one with a barge pole. That could have been dive in the water with a great white shark or slap Brock Lesnar's ass in front of his family. I'm going with the shark.
Do you know what? Well, listen, you've given me two situations I'm not very happy about, but I'm going for Brock. I think if Brock now or Brock back in the day.
Brock now.
If I reach really far and I just pull him down a little bit and slap there fast, I might get a head start on him. I might be able to get away.
So you're fully saying the first thing you're doing after you've done this is running?
Oh, completely, 100%.
And I bet you your legs would never move so fast in their life.
If my feet even touch the floor, it'd be a miracle.
I'd knock toddlers out the way. And when they get older and they see footage of him, they totally understand. Right, okay, you're on.
Mine was nowhere near as exciting as yours. I was going to say, right, because mine's more who could I put up with for the longest. So is your hypothetical for you. Would you rather be stuck on a plane to America, economy, you've got the middle seat, and you've got to sit next to McGregor all the way there, or you've got to be stuck on a lift with Tony Ferguson? And because my thinking on this is, if you're with McGregor, he's just going to talk about himself the entire way. And if you're with Ferguson, he's going to tell you about how to listen to you through the walls. I don't want none of that. So 8 hours on a plane with McGregor or 8 hours on a lift with Ferguson.
That's an easy one for me. It'd be 8 hours on a plane with McGregor.
At least you get fed.
I want to meet him.
I couldn't spend 8 hours with him, no. I can't imagine he talks about much other than himself.
I'll listen.
I've got 8 hours, I'm not doing nothing else.
Right, so next week I'm going to have to try and make it even wackier, so I don't even know what's coming next week.
I'm trying to build. I've got a slow build into my weird ones.
Okay, slow there. Right, so after we've already been spoiled by Khabib versus Poirier, this week's fight on Saturday, I think it's the most underrated fight night card I've seen all year, probably.
Yeah, I agree with it. I was looking at this lineup the other day, and other than seeing a blast from the past with Todd Duffy being on it, it's quite the lineup, isn't it? Not that it's against Todd Duffy, I was just really surprised he was on it. Me and you both, when it come up on the screen, and me and you both turned and went, Todd Duffy!
For anyone listening, what you don't know is he's been banging on about Todd Duffy for the last 6 years.
I haven't.
He's actually Todd Duffy mad. I thought we could get through one podcast without Todd Duffy getting mentioned, and there you fucking go again with your Todd Duffy bullshit. Right, if we can get over your obsession with Todd Duffy then and talk about the first fight on the card. By the way, I love that. I haven't.
I'm really offended by that. That's hit me hard.
Yeah, wait till he gets Todd Duffy back into it.
I'll wait till next week when he comes up again after this fight. Take it away, mate.
And the week after, and the week after that. Right. So the first fight on the main card is Misha Serkinov, who, funnily enough, on my predictive spelling on my iPhone, it comes up as circumcision.
That's a little look into your life, that rather than ours. So I think says more about you than your phone.
Oh, you're bringing up me extra long force into the system. You leave my balloon not out of this. If there's any Americans listening, they don't understand what he's saying.
Didn't expect it to go in that direction then, but we did. Okay. Misha second off, there's Jim Cruz.
Let me get myself together.
Who's your money on for this one? Oh, by the way, from today, when we're going to make predictions on the fights, I'm going to keep a tally on these predictions, and we're going to have to think up some sort of forfeit for the end of the year, once all the fights are said and done, and we'll see who's the world champion at guessing fights, because MMA's a fucking cluster fucking who knows.
Right, yeah, I'm going to have some forfeit.
Well, we'll have a think about that. We'll see what we can do with this forfeit.
Right, so... Oh, I have got the giggles like a complete idiot. So what do you know about Jimmy Crute? Because I know near enough nothing about Jimmy Crute.
When you said that, when you said to me then, what do you know? I was hoping you was going to say about Misha Sekhonov, but you didn't. You said about Jimmy Crute. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All
I know is that he won the Contender Series. And do I know that from watching the Contender Series fight? No. I read that.
Right. Well, do you know, on the evidence of not knowing who Jim Crute is, I've not really looked into him. I should have really. I'm going to give it to Misha Sekhonov.
No, I have seen a Jimmy Crute fight. I saw him fight, do you know Smiling Sam Alvey?
Oh, Sam Alvey, yeah.
I don't know why he really annoys me, that guy, and I've got no reason to say that, but do you know when someone's got a really punchable face? He's in the right profession for that, then, isn't he?
Like the kid off Step Brothers in the back of the car who sings.
Yeah, he's got a punchable face, that kid.
It's that sort of thing, though, isn't it?
He looks like a young Sam Alvey, him, actually. Anyway, I'm off on a tangent on Sam Alvey. Yeah, I saw Jimmy Crute demolish him. And what we know of Sekhonov, he was like massively touted when he signed, wasn't he? Did we talk of he's next in line for John Jones?
The next big thing, wasn't he? For a while.
He got absolutely demolished by Johnny Walker in the last one. Remember the flying knee?
Yeah, that was, and it wasn't a long fight.
No, not at all.
Wasn't it like?
It was like 20 odd seconds.
Yeah.
He's been demolished by Glover, Teixeira, Ozdemir. So it's like last chance saloon, really, because they're obviously high on this Jimmy Crute from winning the Contender. He fought Paul Craig as well. He's actually Scottish, who calls himself the Beardy. And he will not answer why he calls himself the Beardy. Anyway, so he's beat them two, and I assume they're using Sekhonov to feed to Jimmy Crute, but as I've only seen one Jimmy Crute fight, I'm going to have to go with who I know more of, so I'm going to pick Sekhonov. It's his last chance to be in the top 10, so let's see what he can do.
With the landscape of the UFC now, and with the just number of the overpopulation, the saturated market with the fighters, it's just there's so many of them, so you can't keep track of everyone. Even if you're a dedicated fan, you just every now and again there'll be someone who comes up and you go, "Is this someone's paying attention to?" I think you're right. This is the time we find out with Jim Crute whether he's worth paying attention to. And I think Misha Sekhonov was unlucky pulling Johnny Walker when he did. But I think I'm going to go with Sekhonov, like the same as you. Let's see what Jimmy Crute can do. But for now, I'll go with Sekhonov.
So the next one is a really interesting one. This is your grappler, your old-fashioned grappler versus striker matchup. which is Uriah Hall versus Antonio Carlos Jr.
I think, do you know what this one, I was thinking about this, and I think Uriah Hall now is really tested. We know the level Uriah Hall's at because we know where his pitfalls are really, and he's a fantastic striker and he's really dynamic. But it's your question is like when he fought Gastelum, it was really, I mean, he was outclassed a bit by Gastelum. Gastelum turned out to be amazing, but is he another flash in the pan when Uriah Hall starts really strong, and when he's the hammer, when he's pushing the pace, he's so dominant and exciting. But then when he's not, when someone else is putting pressure on him, he seems to fold. I think the question is, can Antonio Carlos Jr. play his game? Can he make Uriah Hall fight his fight? And that's where I'm stuck at the minute. I don't know whether Uriah Hall is going to have it his way and keep the pressure on and use his skills, or whether Antonio Carlos Jr. can dictate the fight in wherever he wants it to be, and it's going to be the decider for this. But saying that, I'm going to go for Hall because I think Hall he'll flash in the pan this one. I think this one's probably going to be a knockout.
I didn't know, Uriah Hall's 35. I thought he was older than that.
He come onto the scene in the Ultimate Fighter, didn't he?
The one with Gastelum, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was looking, he gets a bit of a bad rep, or, well, not a bad rep, but a hard time. Uriah Hall, he gets classed as like overrated, or he was
journeyman.
Yeah. Well, actually, no, I've never heard anyone call him a journeyman. You'd be like,
just that. I've just done
it. Journeyman. Has been, never was. Do you know his last 4 losses in the UFC middleweight division?
Yeah. No, I don't. Go on, sorry.
Paulo Costa, Gegard Mousasi, Derek Brunson, and Robert Whittaker.
That's quite the lineup, that. And
don't forget, he's already knocked Gegard Mousasi unconscious.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm giving... When I was saying Uriah Hall, I wasn't giving him stick. I think he's a fantastic fighter. I think the people you've just described are the people who are best at pushing the pace. I think that's where he falls down. I don't think Antonio Carlos Jr. is the person who's going to push the pace on Uriah Hall.
He's a grappling wizard, though, Antonio Carlos Jr.
And it's always dangerous, that. It's like fighting in Ghana, isn't it? It's like fighting a knockout artist. You could be winning the fight all the way up until the last 20 seconds of the fight, and then you could just catch you in something.
I think I'm going to go with Uriah Hall also, to be honest. I think you're right in what you said, that if he can keep it at kicking range, because any closer, you're going to concede the takedown eventually. If he can keep it at kicking range, I think he's got the stand-up skills to get it done. So, yeah, I agree.
So we're both going for Hall on that one, then?
Yeah.
So next we've got...
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I know. Sergey Kondoskov and Michael Pereira.
Michael Pereira.
Nailed it. Don't correct me, I nailed it.
Yeah. Well, before you even go into this fight's off.
Oh, is it? Right, next fight.
Michael Pereira, at the minute, is still on the card. For me, he's the most exciting fighter in the whole of the UFC to watch.
This is the guy who just flips and everything off the cage, isn't he? He's a loser. This is the one that's still announced as TBD, isn't he? So it's to be determined. They've kept him on, and they're looking to replace that fight. Well, let's just say for this fight then, is if they do find him a matchup, it's well worth a watch because this guy's exciting. Really exciting.
I really hope they get him an opponent, and I hope it's not some wrestler, because I want to see what craziness he can do.
Agreed. So yeah, agreed. Let's just, no, we can't talk about that, just wait out, other than if you do find him an opponent, he's worth a watch.
So next, I'll let you take the floor on this one.
Do you know what though? Looking at this fight, right, I've never seen 2 more normal names. It's Jeff Hughes and Todd Duffy.
Oh, back on the Todd Duffy train.
Here we go again, you and fucking Todd. Why don't you marry him?
Right, so do you want to spend half an hour talking about Todd Duffy?
No, I don't. I really don't.
Right, so yeah, well, you better not be texting me at 1 o'clock in the morning again talking about Todd Duffy.
Just send you pictures of Google images of Todd Duffy.
They're not even Google images now. The images you put up on Google. Right, so all I know is Todd Duffy. He was atrocious in Never Back Down to the Beatdown. Atrocious. And he hasn't fought since 2015 when he got knocked out by Frank Mir.
And the sport has moved on so much till 2015.
Are you back on your Todd Duffy bashing?
You've dropped him, have you? Dropped him already? No, I think how active's Jeff Hughes been?
Well, he won he never won, but he won a fight on a contender, didn't he? And then his debut in the UFC, he lost by split decision against another guy that no one's really ever heard of. So it's like a pick'em. You could go either way for different reasons.
Yeah, is it 2015 Todd Duffy who got knocked out by Mir? Who knows? And where is Jeff Hughes at? So yeah, I think this could go either way. Do you think this one's going to be a standard bang, or do you think this is going to be a?
I can't see it going into the second round.
Yeah.
Excuse me. No, I can't see it. I'm going with Todd Duffy.
I'm going to go with Hughes then. Try and spice it up a bit because we've gone the same for every fight.
Well, of course, you would never go for Todd Duffy, would you?
We've changed, I used to love him.
So, see this one, the next one. I really want to hear what you've got to say about this one because I can't settle on an answer for this one, which is Glover Teixeira versus Krylov or whatever.
I'm got to give this one to Nikita Krylov because Glover Teixeira, do you know what? It's a personal thing now. It's become a personal vendetta against Teixeira because I really like Teixeira, but every time I've bet on him, it's gone down. And it's the same as Sousa. Every time I've bet on Ronaldo Sousa, it's gone down and it's becoming a thing. So I'm not going to bet on him, but I'm giving it to Krylov because I think Teixeira's on a slide. He's on a bit of a skid, and I think he maybe his best days are past him. And that's not.
He's on a 2-fight win streak, by the way.
Who's his last fight?
Who's?
Glover Teixeira.
Is it Cutelaba?
And before that?
If you bear with me 1 sec.
Still going for Nikita Krylov because I think the talent-wise, I think Glover's on at the end of his, and I think Krylov's probably.
No, you're right. You're right on what you're saying. He beat Cutelaba and Carl Robertson. I don't know much about Carl Robinson. But you're right, yeah. Glover Teixeira is 40 next month.
Yeah.
And if you're relying on your power, which he has because, well, I say that, his last 2 wins are by rear naked choke. He's actually a really good wrestler, Glover Teixeira. If you remember when Chuck Liddell was champion, Chuck used to always talk about his training partner, Glover Teixeira, is like the future of the UFC, saying he was a murderer, but obviously that's back then when he was in his late 20s.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Glover. I think he gets it done.
Is it the nostalgia that's doing it for you? Is it just...
I don't rate Krylov, if I'm being honest.
He's doing this one for the old boys?
No, I just don't think his opponent is his level. I think he'll submit him.
Yeah, I think Krylov will take this fight. And with it being a heavyweight, I think it's either going to be an early knockout or it's going to be the slowest, longest fight we've ever seen in our lives.
Light heavyweight, by the way.
Light heavyweight, yeah. But either way, I think they're both big fellas. I don't think this one's going the distance. And if it does, I think it's going to slow down considerably.
Okay, so that brings us to the main event.
Oh, it's the barn burner.
What are you thinking?
Do you know what? Cerrone and Gaethje. And do you want me to give you my pick straight away? Because as soon as I start talking about this, you're going to know I'm picking on this one. So I'm straight out there with it. I think Gaethje's taking this one. And the reason I think Gaethje's taking this one is because Cerrone's notoriously a slow starter. whereas Gaethje is notoriously a quick starter. Gaethje runs out and fights straight away, and that is Cerrone's kryptonite for the most part. If Gaethje starts the way he normally starts and he just de-engage immediately, I think he's going to lure Cerrone into just a slugfest where Cerrone doesn't really want to be. I know he's an exciting fighter, Cerrone, but he's more at his pace and he picks it off and he counters and he works his angles. Gaethje's more in your pocket and just trying to knock it out from the bell. I think that's going to play to Gaethje's advantage in this fight, and I think he's going to take it. I think it'll be a knockout.
Early or late or?
I think it'll be an early knockout. I think it's going to be an early knockout. It's going to be straight out the gate. I think first round, probably.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
Yeah.
Annoyingly, I agree.
I love Sony as well. I think Sony's a fantastic fighter, and he's done a lot for the sport, and he's been here a long time. I think, but Gaethje's just got the tools that seem to be all wrong for him.
Yeah, he doesn't tend to bode well for Cerrone when he's against a pressure fighter, does he?
And there's very, very few fighters who pressure like Gaethje pressures.
Yeah, it's the only thing I could see as the head kick could be there for Cerrone.
Cerrone can win this just the same as any. I mean, they're both really at this level. Anyone can win these fights, but with MMA, there's so many routes to victory. I just think the routes to victory for Gaethje are a lot more clear than the routes to victory for Cerrone. I think. The last time we saw Cerrone fight a pressure fighter like Gaethje was Ferguson, who arguably is a better pressure fighter than Gaethje maybe, but they're definitely at the same sort of level with the pace they keep. And we saw what happened to Cerrone under that pace.
Yeah, I think the keep an eye on the right head kick of Cerrone. I think that will play a part, but I agree. I think Gaethje gets it done because Gaethje's rocked. He probably gets rocked in a sparring session with a 4-year-old. I think that's just what he does before he knocks you out. Yeah,
because Gaethje lures it into that. Gaethje always gets rocked because I think that's the nature of the way he fights. Whereas he'll get in there and he'll just one of you is getting knocked out. That's it. You're going in there and one of you is either getting knocked out or you're having one of the most exciting fights of the year.
Yeah. Either way, it's going to be a great fight, isn't it?
I can't wait for this fight. I'm really looking forward to this fight, and I think this fight's worth staying up for.
You're going with you're exactly the same as me, aren't you, with Gaethje?
Gaethje, yeah, going for Gaethje. But I think we should to
spice it up for the round.
Yeah, so I think first round knockout.
I'll go with fourth.
Okay.
Right. Is there anything else you'd like to add about that card?
Just if you don't watch any fights all night, make sure you come back and watch Donald Cerrone and Gaethje because it's going to be. There's no way that's going to be a boring fight. I hate saying that because Cerrone jinxes it, but there's no way that fight's going to be boring.
And don't forget to watch Michael Pereira.
Oh, if he fights, fingers crossed to get him on that card because to have Gaethje and Cerrone fighting and Pereira fighting the same night. Yeah, let's get it done.
I'm actually really excited for this UFC. I think it's a really great fight night.
Agreed. I'm on your side, yeah.
I'm always one to shit on them for things to do in a pay-per-view that's not top-heavy, but fair play on this card because that's some great matchmaking there. Yeah,
there's some names there that aren't big, but all them fights should be good, should be fun to watch in their own way, I think, and that main card's going to be an absolute burner.
So our last segment of the podcast is if you could recommend a fight for any listeners out there to go back and see that you think is really worth seeing, what is your fight of this week?
Right, well, my fight to go back and watch, because I haven't even gone back and watched this, I just remembered it from watching it live. I mean, it's UFC 80 in 2008. I'm gonna say go back.
BJ Penn?
No, not the BJ Penn fight. But that was BJ Penn, it was the card, BJ Penn. What a memory you've got, that was the BJ Penn card.
Joe Stevenson?
Yeah, but I'm talking about Paul Kelly fighting Paul Taylor. Do you remember the fight?
Great shout.
The Scouser fighting that lad from Birmingham, and it was just
a war.
It was a war, and it was pillar to post from the bell, and they just stood in front of each other and they just let loose. I think that's one to go back and watch. It's well worth a watch. Really exciting fight.
I couldn't agree more. That's a great recommendation. That's a phenomenal fight that doesn't get the credit it deserves. I'm going to go with, mine's on a shorter end of the scale. But if you like short fights and you like a bit of back and forth and you want to see a knockout, the best one-round fight I've ever seen in my life, Paul Daley versus Nick Diaz.
I knew you was going to say that when you said it was a one-round back and forth. But yeah, you're right. What an exciting fight that was. And the build-up, that was brilliant as well. I remember that one coming up. And I was really excited for that fight because Paul Daley, obviously, absolutely phenomenal knockout power, could knock anyone out. And then you've got Diaz, who just can't be knocked out. Yeah, I remember that. What a fight that was. Yeah, what a shout. Both them fights are worth a watch.
Okay, well, on to the next one. I'll catch you next week, my friends.
On to the next one. We next week we'll be catching up with this weekend's fights. If you could give us a follow on Twitter, what's the handle?
It is MMA_side.
And if you could leave a review on iTunes for us, we'd appreciate it very much. Thanks for listening.
Over and out.
Over and out.
Thanks for listening. If you could take 1 minute to leave a review, that would be amazing. Sidecontrol Podcast.